I'm extremely overwhelmed that today we have such Guruji who has blessed us through his message so we could have knowledge of self and stay happy and peaceful. He is Swami Swaroopananda ji. Swami ji has a spiritual inclination since childhood, and during his adolescence he met the preeminent master of the Vedanta, Swami Chinmayananda ji. He has undergone intensive training under Swami Chinmayananda ji and Swami Tejomayananda ji at Sandeepani, Mumbai. He has touched thousands of lives across the world, and his tremendous work in bringing out the essential wisdom and underlying unity of all religions. Swami Swaroopananda ji is a rare voice that blends authenticity with accessibility theory, with self-practice, logic with heart. Presently Chancellor of Chinmaya Vishwavidyapeeth Trust and Chairman of Chinmaya International Residential School in Coimbatore, India. Swami Swaroopananda ji has now been bestowed by Swami Tejomayananda ji the privilege to also serve as the head of Chinmaya Mission worldwide. Swami ji has authored several commentaries on such important spiritual classics as Ek Onkar, Mahamrityunjay Mantra, Sankat Mochan, besides numerous books on commentaries, lifestyle subjects such as simplicity and meditation, Strong to Perform, Avatar, Managing the Manager, and Journey to Health. So with a warm welcome, let's listen his words of wisdom.
Namaste. Greetings to all of you in this wonderful series of consciousness that we wish to spread round the world. If we want to see differences through our body, senses, mind, and intellect, we see the relative world which is so different, and each crystal is different from the other. And our focus, when it remains on differences, when we want to find differences, we can find them in plenty, because in the relative world, everything is seen as different. However, with our intellect, with our careful inquiry, we recognize that there's an underlying principle, an underlying cause, an underlying essence, an underlying truth that is one in everything and everyone in the universe. Therefore, in India, whenever we meet each other, and whether it is young, whether a person is young or old, we meet with a namaste. And with that namaste, I greet all of you, that you and I and everyone is one. And to that one, I surrender, I bow down. I remember a very interesting incident. I was standing at a bus stop, and in India, bus stops are crowded. And there, one gentleman, elderly man, very well known in our street, Mr. Iyer, was standing there. And finally, he came in front of the queue, hoping that the crowded bus, at least he and the person behind him, would push him inside in that crowded bus. At that time, a college-going teenager comes with one book in his hand, spinning it around, and comes and stands right in front of the queue, inconsiderate of the people who have been waiting there for such a long time. Mr. Iyer, a distinguished elderly gentleman, looks at him and says, "These days, these youngsters have got no manners, no decency, no consideration." And that youngster, with earphones in his ear, hardly is listening to him. Finally, he managed to jerk him out of his music, and they started fighting. To keep the story short, finally his book fell down, and Mr. Iyer read his name and found that he was also Iyer. The moment they recognized some identity, immediately that fight ended. And when the bus came, guess who went in? The elderly gentleman telling the young man to go in, the young man telling the elderly gentleman to go in, the third person jumped into the bus. How did that conflict instantly stop? When there is this knowledge and discovery of oneness, then only there is love, there is unity, there is peace. So if we want to see differences, there's differences in people, there's differences in the same family. And where we see differences, there is conflict, because differences are there superficially in the universe. However, when we make it into distinctions, inequality, separation, you, I, my, yours, there is where conflict happens. And where there is conflict, there will be the loss of peace, harmony. Therefore, whether it was the philosophers, whether it were the discoverers, whether it was the great saints, sages of the world, their main purpose was to show us that unity in the diversity, that one truth, that one essence, not just similarity, but just that one truth, one essence. In the land of Bharat, the land of light, which today we call as India, the very philosophy, the very culture, the very religion starts with that there is only one infinite cause from which this entire universe of plurality has appeared. Just as from one mud, different names and forms arise as different mud pots, vases, etc., with different utility. Names and forms might appear different. They are only temporary, they are only relative. But the essence, the truth, is only one. That mud in all the pots, that gold in all the gold ornaments, that water in all the waves, small or big, a ripple or a tsunami, is one and the same. When our attention is on the differences, then fear, anxiety, self-preservation, all these become our priority. And our reactions then become natural, of likes, dislikes, aversions, fear, anxieties of others, conquest, defeat. All these happen. And as we see in the world, that where we see distinctions, differences, if all religions say God is one, then how can there be my God and your God? How can my God be superior than your God? If the cause that we call in religion as God, in philosophy as truth, science infers of it as reality, that cause of the universe can only be the one infinite. Give that any name. Names we can give different according to languages. In one language, we may say mother. In the other language, we may say amma. In the third language, we may say mom. In another language, we may say mummy. Whatever we say, but mother means the same in every culture of the world. If we recognize that even what has been said about God in all the religions, you will see one common factor. For the truth is there in all religion, in all sciences that try to discover the truth. But truth is not the heritage of any one religion or science. For truth is that which is ever present in everything and everyone. We ask this question: what is the truth? Who is God? Is there a God? We may not believe in a certain concept of God that is prevalent. But if we inquire what the great masters have said, who inquired into life, who inquired into who am I, who inquired as to what and from where this world has emerged, is there a common factor, or we are all different? Love is there only when I identify with someone as one, or even I see a sense of similarity and unity. All the great masters, all the well-wishers of the world, and today also all of you gathered here, are we not seeking that oneness? In fact, in whatever we do, there is this urge, this common purpose. And most people are looking out for a purpose. But in fact, with what purpose do we do any action? Is it not that in every action that we do, in every desire that we wish to fulfill, anything we want to acquire, is it not that we all are seeking that permanent state of peace and happiness? Are we not all seeking that? Is that not the purpose for which everything that we do? A person marries to be happy, divorces to be happy. Whatever we do is to be happy. And that pursuit of happiness is there in each one of us. But only thing we don't recognize is that we are seeking permanent, everlasting happiness. We are seeking permanent love. We are seeking permanent peace. And that which is permanent, when we try to analyze, when we try to think, what is that? And we search for it, we find that the existence in everyone, which is Sat, which we heard so beautifully in that melodious song, that each object may appear to be different, but the common underlining factor, that existence is always there. The table is. Your screen is. You are. I am. This is all is. A tree is. You make furniture out of it, the furniture is. The furniture is destroyed. The wood piece is. make it into pulp, the paper is. That isness, because of which the entire universe appears to exist, that is common. And that which is permanent, when we begin to inquire, that everything that we see, the world of names and forms, and we experience in our waking, dream, and deep sleep state, all that we see is changing. But the consciousness, the awareness, the seer, who even knows your childhood, old age, youth, and old age, is permanent, ever present. And this consciousness, which is there in everyone, you cannot see any difference in it. And this consciousness, which is infinite, alone can be fulfilling, because happiness is where there is no ifs, there is no conditionings, and therefore of the nature of happiness. This Sat Chit Ananda is our very own nature and the nature of everyone. But in our ignorance, when we do not recognize our true self, we interact with the world through our relative personalities, in which we see all differences. Get to the core of yourself. Get into your heart and discover that one consciousness that pervades the entire universe, which is the substratum of the entire universe. And in that oneness, you discover that which is love. And love knows only one thing, and that is, I see in my beloved myself. And in that sharing of happiness, there is no give or take, there is no you or me, there is just one. Where there is this knowledge of oneness, there is love. Where there is love, there is no conflict, there is peace. And where there is peace, there is giving, sharing, and abundance. Because when I discover I am happiness myself, and infinite happiness, then in giving and sharing that happiness for everyone, in every also there is that one. There is no hesitation. And where there is happiness, there is love, there is peace and harmony. This is the knowledge of all the great masters. And knowingly, unknowingly, this is the purpose for which we do everything. We only have to recognize that this is the very purpose behind everything that we do. Not that we have to find a purpose. We have a purpose. And that is to be happy and to spread happiness everywhere. For happiness is the nature of the self. Happiness is the nature of everyone, and therefore the pursuit of everyone. And we seek God also because we want to be happy. And God, in every religion of the world, is that which is infinite. And the infinite cannot be separate from anything. And there can be no my God, your reality, my truth. For truth is only one. And when we discover that truth, which is one in all of us, then only we reach the very purpose or fulfill the very purpose of our life. And what we seek is ourselves. But not knowing ourselves and considering ourselves to be this limited identity, separate from anyone, comes all the anxieties, frustrations, wars, etc. Discover that which is one. Discover that which is infinite. And helplessly, because of our ignorance, when we don't know our nature, just as water from any place seeks its source, the ocean, the fire even on the earth goes upwards towards its source, the sun. Same way, every creature in this world seeks his or her own nature, and that is infinite, eternal bliss or happiness. And the joy of living is be happy and spread happiness to everyone. That indeed is the expression of love. And that love comes when I see myself in everyone. Namaste.
Namaste, respected Pujya Swamiji. Thank you very much. We are so honored that the session begins with your blessings. And Swamiji, you rightly said that the senses gives us the world of differences, but when we inquire deeply, we understand the underlying cause, truth, reality, one consciousness, that infinitive. Once we realize it, and probably that has been demonstrated when we say namaste, I can see Iyer in you and the Iyer can see Iyer in me. That was so amazingly touching and worth remembering forever. And when I see you and me and you, and us and all, as you said, then that leads to peace. Peace leads to giving. Giving leads to sharing and the world of abundance. And creating that world of abundance helps me to realize my purpose of life. That is realizing myself beyond limited identities, seeing mud in the pot, gold in the ornaments, and water in the ocean. As water, fire goes back to its source, and my source is realizing Sat Chit Anand, and there is a one in everyone. So kind of you, respected Puja Swamiji. We are so honored to listen these elaborations from you. I had many questions, but majority of them are already answered in your speech. But still, one question is left. If you permit, I can. Swamiji, a question I received is, Swamiji, I am an atheist. What should I call as my purpose of life?
First of all, define to yourself what you call as atheist. An atheist is a person who may not believe in some religious concept of a God, yeah, or think that there is no God. And that too also is what concept you think is God. But if you find out that what you are seeking in your purpose, that's why what I said in my talk, that cause, that essence in you, religion calls it as God, philosophy calls it as truth, and what you are seeking as your purpose is what is the truth, and that is eternal, infinite consciousness. And you cannot deny that, can you? If you deny that there is that cause which is existent, not a being up there in heaven, but an existent cause, it's like the pot denying the mud. When you deny existence, then you are denying your existence. When you deny consciousness, you mean to say you are unconscious? And when you deny happiness, are you seeking sorrow? What you're seeking is your own true essential nature. And you cannot say, you may not believe in some God who is there to help you, but believe in yourself who can help yourself. That is being a theist, not one who believes in God. So you have belief in something. If not, you have belief in yourself. So don't call yourself an atheist.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Swamiji, for such a deep answer of the question. I hope that answers the question. And we seek your blessings for the events to come. Around more than 90 to 100 countries, representatives are there in this event. And we all are blessed with your presence, Swamiji.
Wish you all the best, and everyone, Godspeed to everyone, and let us work towards this oneness, peace, and happiness by discovering ourselves.
Thank you, Swamiji. Regards, Swamiji. Namaste.
I am very grateful to Swami Swaroopananda ji for sharing his insights and blessing us through his message. Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you so very much.